What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Closers. I am James the Greek, and we have a packed show today. We're going to tell you which players in MLB need to shine in order for their teams to compete. Somebody had the testicular fortitude to actually insult my boy, Shohei Ohtani. We'll talk all about it right now. Plus, we have a lot of news about the channel. We'll talk about it with our guy, the former first-round pick of the San Francisco Giants, Mr. David Aardsma. What's up, Dave?
What's going on down here in Arizona? Spring training is alive and well. I love it, except for it's overcast. It sucks. This is miserable today. It is overcast. This is Arizona. It's not supposed to be like New York.
All I'm about to say is, you poor guy. It's only 40 degrees in New York, but you have to deal. What's the temperature in Arizona right now?
It is, let me look, 55 degrees. But again, it's overcast. This isn't supposed to be like this. It's supposed to be nice and beautiful and sunny and gorgeous. And it's overcast and windy and don't like it. Everything about it feels wrong.
Yeah, when I think of Arizona, I don't think 50 and overcast. I think about a paradise that I need to go to soon because I'm going to lose my freaking mind here in New York.
You're about to lose your mind regardless. I think today you're going to go off.
Well, dude, I told you the other day what's been going on in my life. The last 6 weeks has been a giant cluster F. I mean, hell, I have no underwear left. Somebody stole all my underwear. I had to drop off my laundry. I have no underwear right now.
And it's so funny because hearing the story yesterday, and obviously James is going to tell it right here. We're going to make him. He wants to tell it. But hearing the story is such a unique, like, New York problem that it is not an Arizona problem.
I mean, the last 6 weeks have been terrible. My favorite T-shirt got ripped. All right. I got into a fight with my best friend. I dropped off my laundry and they lost my underpants. When I went to go confront them about it, I got into an accident with some guy who couldn't wait for me to back up. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But anyway, I digress. We have time limits this week. I don't want to rehash this because my blood pressure is already through the freaking roof. All right.
It's hilarious.
It's not funny.
It loses entire. And here's the thing, guys. Like, he lost 24 pairs of underwear. 24. Yeah. Like, I'm thinking like, oh, you lost like 5 or 6. You lost 24. Like, that would be all of my underwear gone.
Yeah, it was something like 20 to 25. You know, you do your laundry every 3 weeks. You know, you pair one pair of underwear each day, 3 times 7, 21. And I don't buy cheap underwear. It's funny, my T-shirts, my jeans, they're all cheaper than my underwear. Why couldn't they have stolen my T-shirts? Leave me my underpants. If anybody
would want yours.
Dude, if anybody finds 25 pairs of black Ralph Lauren polo underwear with some holes, let me know. It's just bad. But anyway, I don't want people to click off because they're thinking, what is wrong with this guy and his underwear? So let's talk a little bit about our main topic of the day. I love spring training. It is the most beautiful time because everybody thinks that they have a chance, even though they don't. But in order for everybody to actually have a chance, they have to have one player on each team come up real big. So today we'll talk about the NL teams, and I want to start with the Arizona Diamondbacks. And Dave, I think we're in agreement where I believe that the guy that needs to really step it up this year is Jordan Montgomery.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Jordan Montgomery, obviously, is a huge signing over from the Texas Rangers, World Series champion Jordan Montgomery. Obviously, I did really well in New York. Traded to St. Louis, did very well there. Texas did amazing on that World Series run. And he was one of their big signs, obviously, last year. Really had a down year, though. I mean, just absolutely sucked. Spring training, had an injury, just was fighting it all year, just pitched really bad, had issues with the ownership. Ownership had issues with him, whatever that worked out to be. But I believe in that what you're saying is this is the guy that needs to step up and shine if this team is going to have success.
Agreed. In the NL East, the Atlanta Braves, I'm picking Spencer Schwellenbach, the starting pitcher, as the guy who desperately needs to come through. Am I right? Am I wrong? You tell me.
Desperately, I don't know about desperately, but I think it's absolutely important and for this young man to have just build upon last year. He did amazing last year, 3.35 ERA in 21 games. Did everything he could possibly do last year. Pitched really well, obviously young, but let's build on that. Let's continue that success. That rotation is really thin, and it gets really thin really quick. And there are youngest spots. They're obviously really old. And we have Chris Sale, Ronaldo Lopez have a lot of success, but Ian Anderson, Grant Holmes, and him, like it gets young really, really fast. And for a team that's supposed to be a World Series competitor, you've got basically two rookies and a second year guy. It's gonna be really tough. Like they have to pitch really well.
Yeah. I got to see Spencer pitch last year. I like his stuff. I think he's going to do very well, but I will continue with desperately because I don't think you're going to get 2 straight years of Chris Sale healthy. Sorry to tell you,
I do not think so
fans,
either.
but doesn't happen very often with Chris Sale. Let's move on to your favorite team growing up, the Chicago Cubs, and young third baseman Matt Shaw is the guy that I'm targeting over there. Tell me about him. What do you think?
A huge prospect, obviously, in the Cubs organization, like their number one prospect, third baseman. And the reason we are picking him, and at least for me, is they stopped themselves from signing other third basemen, moving, trying to bring in Nolan Arenado or signing down in
Bregman.
Houston, Bregman, because of him. And he's taken up that spot. And I love it. I think it's a great move by the Cubs. You don't need, I would have loved bringing in Bregman, but again, the Cubs are in a place where they need to build up that young core, and you have a dude who's your number one prospect. Don't block his path. Bring him in and let him play.
Yep. We're going to move on to the very young Cincinnati Reds with that new coach, that new manager, Tito Francona, who I believe gets the best out of all of his players, and he's going to have to get the best out of Christian Encarnacion Strand this year.
The new coach who's very, very, very far from being a new coach, the salty vet coach. But Christian Encarnacion Strand, one of the best names in all of baseball. I love it. He's got so much potential, so much power there. But again, let's see him make that next step forward. This is going to be a tough lineup. Obviously, Elly De La Cruz is going to take all the publicity, all the stardom, and he absolutely deserves it. I love some of the moves they made, bringing Gavin Lux and stuff like that. But Encarnacion Strand, that's to me, it's like if he succeeds and has that next year where he really steps up, right? We've seen the light shine on him at times. Let's see him step forward and become a kind of a superstar in his own light over at first base where you got Elliott Short. I think this team is definitely going places, but he's got to step up. And if anybody's going to get it out of him, Tito's going to get it out of him.
Yep, that's the guy. Man, Tito's such a good manager.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Knows how to build cultures. That's really what he does.
All right, moving on to Colorado, the place where you were born. Good old Denver. We have Jordan Beck, the left fielder.
Jordan Beck, again, this is a tough team to figure out exactly who they need to step up to play well. To me, Ezekiel Tovar is a superstar, just under the radar, incredible superstar. He's got amazing stuff. But Jordan Beck, that right fielder, obviously a prospect coming up. Let's see him make that next step. This is a place where power hitting outfielders come and thrive. Yep. And to me, if he's able to take those reins and become that guy with Brent Doyle in center, who is incredibly underrated, and I think underrated, but across the league, people respect the hell out of him. So you get that right fielder, that center fielder locked in, the shortstop locked in, you can build an organization really quick.
This next team, I don't know what.
Get a lot of time on this next team.
Yeah, you're just like, which player needs to do well for this team to succeed? This team is going to succeed anyway because they have everybody. The Los Angeles Dodgers, and by default, we picked Roki Sasaki.
Yeah, well, that's it. And by default, but actually, there's a couple good reasons here. One, the lineup's the lineup. They proved last year they don't need everybody to be healthy to win. Ohtani was hurt at times, or Betts was hurt at times, Freddie was hurt at times, Teoscar was hurt at times. It doesn't really matter the bottom of the lineup. They'll figure it out, and they brought in great pieces there. Rotation, that's a thing that gets really sticky with them. They've had a lot of injuries lately. They've had a lot of injuries last year. There, you look at that rotation, and while there's a whole lot of names that get thin really quick because of injuries, again, it's a great problem to have. But with a guy like Roki Sasaki, if he's able to lock in that 3, 4, 5 spot in that rotation, that will be incredible for them. They haven't had that in a while. Somebody that just locks in, and if he's healthy, that's the thing though. He has to stay healthy. He has to transition into Major League Baseball. He had his first outing like a couple days ago. It was an incredible job. But he needs to settle in that role and lock that rotation in. Yeah, Yamamoto at the top, Snell, Glasnow, Gonsolin are kind of penciled in all their spots. But again, every one of those guys had some injury issues. Every one of them, especially Glasnow, Gonsolin, and Yamamoto, and Blake Snell can't go past 5. So they have a lot of issues there. They do have issues at the rotation spot. It's just they've got a whole lot of superstar with a lot of issues.
Issues I don't know about. I would say question marks, concerns. A little too early for issues. And don't forget, here's the funny thing. Oh yeah, you got Clayton Kershaw. You got a fifth pitcher. Oh, and you didn't mention Ohtani. So your 8-man rotation, I think, will be just fine.
Right. It's just like, oh, their solution. Let's say somebody's hurt. Okay, you got Kershaw. Okay, somebody else is hurt. Oh, you got Ohtani. By the way, Cy Young winners and Hall of Famers. That's
and one is the best player that ever played baseball.
Yeah, not bad.
All right, moving on. Here's a guy who I highly doubt will be with this team at the end of the year because they are in full rebuild. Sandy Alcantara of the Miami Marlins. I wish he would come to the New York Mets. I love this guy pitching, but we don't know what he's going to do when he comes back from that Tommy John.
Can we just call it Alcantara? Because it just sits so well. Like, it just reminds me of my 80s childhood playing Contra. Sandy, honestly, yes, this is the man. This is where the organization goes. I don't know if he's going to be there the rest of the year. To me, it's such a hard thing to figure out with the Miami Marlins what they're going to do. Obviously, everything points to sell, and they're going to get rid of him at some point. The injury didn't help, especially at the point of the contract where they got him for cheap. But this dude's a stud, and again, he's going to come back. He's going to be amazing. He's had good spring so far. It's just where he goes, the organization goes, because when he goes, the organization's going to step back again. And again, if they have a smart front office and they make the good moves and bring in the right players for that trade, they can go places in the future. But if they don't, they're just going to sit back there and kind of be the Marlins for a while.
Yep. Let's move on to Milwaukee, who made the playoffs last year, but unlikely they'll make the playoffs this year just because they lost too much, in my opinion, with Willy Adames and Devin Williams. But they have who I believe is the best of the Jacksons, Jackson Chourio. I think he needs to be the guy in Milwaukee.
Well, offensively, I think he is going to be the guy. I think he is the guy that everyone's going to be pointing to. William Contreras is an absolute stud. Christian Yelich is amazing. Obviously, just past his prime, having so many little issues here and there. But from an offensive standpoint, this is the next dude. Like, this guy was amazing last year. It had an incredible year, incredible run. I think he ended up number 3 in Rookie of the Year in a really incredible Rookie of the Year class. With Jackson Merrill, and then you had obviously Skeens and him, some amazing players, young players, and the Brewers just seem to always keep creating these guys. I think it's really going to be him, and then obviously Freddie Peralta are the two guys that where they go. But it's crazy that an organization like the Brewers have lost so many players, so many really good players, can kind of keep trucking. I think this is the year it kind of catches up, though.
Okay. We'll move on to a little-known team from New York, the New York Metropolitans, and they have a young catcher who needs to rebound in year 3 with Mr. Alvarez, Francisco Alvarez. What do you think, Ards?
Francisco Alvarez, it's so crazy that the Mets are the biggest, highest spending team in Major League Baseball. It's so crazy with everything we talk about with the Dodgers and the Yankees. It is the Mets who have the highest payroll in baseball, and they've been having the highest payroll. But Francisco Alvarez, the top of the lineup. Lindor, Soto, Alonso, Mark Vientos. Like, let's see if he just continues on with what he's doing. But Francisco Alvarez, let's solidify the kind of the back end of that lineup, that 5, 6, 7, wherever he's going to end up kind of falling in there. It's interesting because he could end up being higher up in the lineup if he starts out hot, gets everything going, because you got switch lefty righty with Lindor, Soto, Alonso, and you got Nimmo. It's a really well put together lineup. And let's not forget about Jeff McNeil, who was the leading hitter a couple of years ago.
I'm trying to forget about him. I think he's cooked. Continue.
Either way, but the dude's 32, but again, like he just puts the bat to ball, gets on base. That's all he needs to do as long as the lineup keeps going. But Francisco Alvarez, he's young, he's a stud, but let's see him make that next step up going into his arbitration years.
All right, we're gonna move to damn Phillies now. And I got Jordan Romano as the guy that really could be the pivotal guy for that team.
The lineup set. The lineup's going to be great. I've got no questions about that. Though my only question is might not have enough Latinos in the lineup. You got to have some flair. Got to have some Latin love in there. The rotations obviously studs. We all know about this. It's that bullpen, and the bullpen's been a problem for years. The bullpen's having that lockdown ninth inning. Dude, I'll never forget. I was with the Blue Jays, saw Jordan Romano in Double-A being a starter, and I tapped our farm director. I said, he's the next closer of the Toronto Blue Jays. I go, he's the best closer we have in this organization. He should be in the big leagues right now closing games. They told me I was crazy. But look at him now down in Philly. He's going to be taking this team the ninth inning with the ball in his hand, and he's going to be taking them far. But where he goes, the Phillies go, because every good team in Major League Baseball history has had a really good bullpen, and the Phillies need a great bullpen.
We're going to stay in the Keystone State, and we're going to go with the Pittsburgh Pirates, who don't have enough sticks, but they have some pitching with Mr. Paul Skeens. And if they're going to do it, they're going to rely on their pitching. That's why I have Jared Jones as the guy in Pittsburgh.
Best young rotation in Major League Baseball, absolute studs. We all know about Paul Skeens, Mitch Keller, Jared Jones. It's so funny, the dude that those 99 like gets overlooked, but he's incredible, dude. The guy is an amazing pitcher. And Bailey Falter, let's not forget about Bailey Falter. And then you have Andrew Haney, the salty vet in there. But Jared Jones, I think where this goes, we know what Paul Skeens is capable of. We know Mitch Keller and him are really where my eyes are going to be. And Jared Jones, guys, for as good as Paul Skeens is, Jared Jones has the ability to be just as good every single day he steps on that mound. I don't know if I would take one over the other. Paul Skeens obviously just hit the ground running so incredible, but Jared Jones has just as good of stuff. And so it's amazing that he gets like going overlooked as much as he does, which is going to be great because I think he can succeed in that secondary role. But Jared Jones is a stud, but he needs to kind of take that next step that we saw Paul Skeens do kind of throughout the year. He needs to take that this year, going into his second full year.
And Jared Jones, by the way, is the most hated man in the baseball card hobby. It's really funny because you open a pack and you see a rookie card and you see a Pirate, you're like, and a pitcher, you're like, yes, I got the Jared
and a righty.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to San Diego. And I mean, he's the superstar of the team, but he should be doing better, and hopefully he will. Fernando Tatis Jr., if they're going to go somewhere, he needs to be the guy.
Yes, he needs to be the guy. He needs to be the man. But when is it going to happen? Like, we've seen the flashes. We've seen how good he is. And then we saw the suspensions. We see kind of outbursts. We've seen too many things from all these different levels of him. Let's just see baseball every single day. Let's see him healthy. To me, if I'm the Padres too, the thing is like, let's get him in a position every single day. If he's going to be a right fielder, let's make him the best right fielder possible. Let's do this. I like it. Jackson Merrill's an absolute stud in center field. You got Arise in first base. You got Bogarts in shortstop for whatever reason that he's a shortstop, but he is there. Machado at third. You have this amazing lineup. To me, Fernando Tatis Jr. is the man on where this team goes because he has so much potential, so much talent. Let's see him step up and be the player that they paid for.
Let's stay in California, go a little north, and go to the bum capital of the world, San Francisco. Justin Verlander, my guy there.
Justin Verlander, which is a crazy pick that the 43-year-old, 42-year-old is the guy that's going to need to step up. But the Hall of Famer with 19 years of service is going to one of the most pitcher-friendly ballparks in baseball, one of the places that kind of pitchers like redevelop themselves. Logan Webb, Robbie Ray, Jordan Hicks, Hal Harrison, like they are all studs. Harrison, obviously, much younger than any of these guys, and kind of the rookie guy coming up. But Justin Verlander, you have to see him throw every single day. Be on the mound, toe that rubber, just be healthy. Give me 5, give me 6. I don't need to see like shades of MVP Justin Verlander. I just need the dude that can take the ball every day and give me 5, 6. And if we getting that out of Justin Verlander, you know it's going to be good. And that rotation really quickly could be the best in the NL. Like it really could be if they're healthy, towing the rubber. It's just, can they be healthy every day? Because you've got 3 legit Cy Young like contenders on that team every single time they take the ball.
Yep. Let's go to St. Louis, and I have Victor Scott II as their guy.
Anytime you get the second in there, it's absolutely important. And this dude just need to step up. And that's what we really want to see is this guy take that next step forward in the organization, see him go, see where he can take him and where he can just grow. And to me, it's a weird spot where the team is. They don't know what's going to happen with Nolan Arenado as the year goes on. Is he going to be a Cardinal? Is he not going to be a Cardinal? This offense this team itself is in a big flux. And so when we got the young player coming up that's going to be kind of take the reins as the next guy, let's see him just take that next growth area, like cut out the swings and misses, cut out some strikeouts, and just kind of control his game and become the middle of the order guy. So when they have some choices to make, right, with Arenado, with Wilson Contreras, at some point, he can just be that guy.
Yeah, I agree with you. And finally, our last team, the Washington Nationals. And I'm going to go with Aaron Judge Jr., James Wood. That is a big, big boy right there.
Big boy. This is going to be a really fun team if CJ Abrams can stay out of the casino. Dylan Cruz is an absolute stud. Obviously, a number 2 pick or whatever it was out of LSU. They've got so many young players with so much talent on this team. They just need to kind of make that next. All of these guys need to make that next step and do it together and be one, be a team that they keep together, and then they add the right pieces in. It's going to be interesting to see if the Nats can take that next step forward. But James Wood is also the guy that we want to see take that next step. Like he had an incredible first year, and then let's see him step forward to where he kind of takes the reins. But they're going to have so many young superstars on this team. It's going to be a matter of, can they do it all together versus separately try to all be perfect. Like you've got so many young guys. It's just, can they grow them together?
Yeah. If they can do that, and they're doing it the right way with young hitting. So I like what the Nationals are doing. I don't particularly like that they're in the Mets division, but I can't do anything about that. David, are you a fan of Family Guy?
Yeah, I've always loved Family Guy.
Okay, because every time I see this guy's picture or something, his name, all I can think about is that song from Family Guy. I love James Woods. One
of the great cameos of Family Guy.
Yeah, absolutely. So those are the guys who need to come with the boomstick, or the boom arm in some cases this year, in order for their teams to have a shot at the playoffs. I think it's a pretty good list. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. And while you're at it, subscribe, but not to this channel, because we have an announcement. We are moving closers to a new channel on YouTube called Man Cave Sports Baseball. It will be nothing but baseball. You'll still be able to catch Clippy Jones on his channel. We're going to add a new show, Are You Smarter Than a Relief Pitcher, which we have already recorded the pilot. And I even got myself one of these, and this is going to be the Wheel of Death for Aardsma. Anytime he screws up, he has to do one of the things on this list. Now, we're not going to let you know what it is.
Oh, no. That's not right. When I lose, not anytime I screw up, because I'm going to screw up a lot.
Okay, when you screw up on Are You Smarter Than a Relief Pitcher?
When I lose on Are You Smarter Than.
All right. I've got to say one thing, though. your kids and your wife are really messed up. They have no love for you whatsoever. I mean, we were talking in a group chat trying to figure out punishments, and one of the punishments that your wonderful wife brought up was that they would take a Sharpie and draw hair on your head for an entire show. You would have to do a show like that. Why in the hell would they take a Sharpie? A magic marker that's washable isn't good enough? Your wife has no love for you, bro.
Because they're evil. Because they're evil, and they like humiliating me, and I'm okay with that. It's fun.
Yeah, but
I'm okay for the show. I'll do anything for the show.
But with a Sharpie?
Yeah, whatever. It'll come off eventually.
Okay.
It'll be funny. If I'm walking around with Sharpie on my head, that's funny.
Okay. I'm glad that I'm not doing it. But then again, I would probably win baseball trivia more often than you would.
Probably.
But since we're talking about the new channel that we're going to be launching very, very soon, we are in a mad dash to get 1,000 subscribers. So I'm going to do something that is so beyond the realm of generosity. One of the first 1,000 subscribers is going to get the ultimate prize pack. You're going to get a David Aardsma autographed baseball card. Huge, right there off the bat. But I'm also going to be giving that one person who wins, they'll be getting a Gunnar Henderson rookie card, a Bobby Witt rookie card, a Jackson Merrill, a Jackson Churio, an Ellie De La Cruz, a Paul Skeens, and many, many more. I'm going to give you rookie cards of all the great players in baseball within reason. Plus, I'm even going to add one of my Shohei Ohtani cards in there. That's how much I want you guys to be a part of the channel. I want you to subscribe. I want you to like. I want you to comment. Tell me why David should have hair made out of magic marker. Let us all know because it's important. All right, enough promoting the channel. Let's move on because somebody had the balls to talk about my boy, Shohei Ohtani. Have you heard of this?
No, he doesn't know.
Have you heard about this punk, Travis Hunter, the Heisman Trophy winner?
James, I follow college football. I actually pay attention.
You're right. I apologize.
I'm pretty locked into college football. Penn State, we are. And so I know very much of Travis Hunter.
Okay, so for those of you,
when was the first time you really learned about Travis Hunter? Is this it?
A couple of weeks ago.
Seriously?
I mean, I had heard his name, but I knew nothing about his position. I just heard Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter.
Yes, and extremely controversial Heisman Trophy winner too. It wasn't within the college football world. A lot of people disagreed with this more than I've ever seen somebody disagree with Heisman Trophy before.
All I know is this guy plays wide receiver and defensive back, which is very admirable that he can both go both ways. That doesn't happen in football. There's very few guys can do that. But he had the balls to say that what he does is more difficult than Shohei Ohtani?
He doesn't know. He doesn't know. The boy doesn't know. He doesn't realize what he's saying.
Well, let me ask you this. Where did he play football?
He played at Jackson State initially, and then when Mr. Sanders, Mr. Prime Time, Coach Prime transferred to took the job at Colorado. He transferred and went to the University of Colorado. CU.
Okay, so his head football coach at Colorado played professional baseball, and he didn't go and say, Travis, you might want to shut up because you don't know what the hell you're talking about. All right. He's a great athlete. And being able to play both ways is fantastic. Right. But it's the same skill set. You run, you cut, you put your hands up, and either you catch the not hitting 100-mile-an-hour fastball, and you're not throwing 100-mile-an-hour fastball. You run and you cut. That's all that you do. Sit there and badmouth my boy Shohei. Ridiculous.
Here's the thing: is so what he just doesn't know, and then that's a beautiful thing about Travis is he doesn't understand what it takes to play Major League Baseball, and it's not even the hitting or the pitching. what when I talk to guys that play both sports, when guys that play baseball and football, I with the Blue Jays, we had plenty of guys in the organization that did it, or in Major League Baseball, we had guys that played D1 football and did both. What I hear universally is the grind of baseball, the 162 games, the 182 days, what it was when I played, and I think it's 185 or something now. The constant everyday mental toughness, the physical toughness of every day, that grind, being on the field, practicing every single day, and then playing every single day is unlike anything else they've ever experienced in every sport. Like in basketball, basketball, hockey, football, what you do on that single day far outweighs what we do on a single day. Far outweighs it. Like there's no closeness. And that's the problem with the guys like this that don't do both. Travis Hunter doesn't realize, like, yes, what he does on a game, when he steps on the field for CU and plays DB and plays wide receiver and the level that he plays it at is incredible. But what he doesn't do is practice the next 6 days. In baseball, there's no forgiveness. Like any little bit that you're off that day, you're done. It's over. Like that's an offer. Like you're gone. Like you don't get offers in college football. Like when you're DB, like you miss 2 guys for a touchdown, like it's your game's over. You get taken out. In college baseball, in baseball, like your offers are just every day. Like go for it. You got to step right back out there. Your mental toughness is so much higher than any other sport. Your grind is so much higher. And that's what these guys don't understand is when they don't do this and they got to go out there and do that the next day and 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 the next day, taking offers. And that's what Prime talked about, is hitting and be like, dude, 3 for 10 is Hall of Famer. The mental toughness it takes to be able to do that every day. Put on those cleats, warm up, practice every day, play every day. You don't get days off like you do in football. You don't get days off like you do in basketball. You don't get to go take once every 3 days off. You don't. I'm sorry. You have to play, and that's the expectation of your position. So yes, the day in, day out grind of football, that game, it far outweighs baseball. Taking a hit, hitting somebody far outweighs what you do in baseball. But dude, doing it every day, that's where those guys can't make it. And that's the cutoff point. And that's the thing about it. Like every sport has their uniqueness and their difficulties. I can't play DB. I can't play wide receiver. I'm not bigger enough, fast enough, strong enough. I might have been strong enough, but I might not. I can't do those things that they do. Taking hits, I don't know. I've never hit somebody outside of freshman year of high school football. But dude, I do know what it's like to strap them on. And the one thing I do is I talk to guys, and they say, dude, there's nothing like baseball.
That is a beautiful argument, and I love listening it, and I agree with everything you said. But at the end of the day, he's still badmouth Shohei.
You're bad-mouthing literally the greatest player of all time. Yeah. Who's never done. There's a reason nobody's done it. There's a reason nobody's done what Ohtani is doing. Plenty of guys in college, and that's the thing. Travis Hunter thinks he's a unicorn in college football. He is not. It's just in D1, we don't see a whole lot of it because there's guys good enough on both sides. To be honest, if he was on an SEC team, he wouldn't be playing both sides because they would have better players than him in both positions. He'd pick one and be really good at it. He wasn't that great at CU. I'm just going to straight up say this. He was the darling child of a team that wasn't good. They had 2 legit Heisman candidates, top 7, 10 or whatever Heisman candidates. And they were really not a good team. They weren't at all. Like any team they played decent, they got their ass kicked. And whenever he played any good teams, he got his butt kicked. Like he wasn't the same player as when he played some like below 500 teams. Like, and they didn't put up those numbers. And so to me, it's like, dude, don't bring Ohtani into this. How about this? Have so much respect. Like, hey, what I do is unique. What he does is absolutely unique. Which one's tougher? I don't know. That's your answer. I don't know. What he does is incredible. What I do know is what it takes for me to do what I do every day. It takes a lot. And I don't know if he could do it. I don't know. But I imagine if anybody could, it would be Ohtani. You say some bullshit like that. Because I'm sorry, Coach Prime, probably the first one saying like, Travis, I love the media hype. I love what you're doing. But brother,
you're stupid.
but your brother, like even when you talk to the best guys that ever did it, they're like, baseball, man, baseball's different.
I'll tell you this. The last thing I'm going to mention about Travis Hunter. If the Jets draft him, I'm officially done. You don't badmouth Ohtani and come to my team. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Done with the Jets.
I'm okay with that.
I don't know. Just really, really disappointing. But you know what's not disappointing? The gains that you can make if you go to Top Velocity Pro. David, tell us about Top Velocity Pro.
Yes. And Travis, if you want to come and be the best pitcher you want to be, come to Top Velocity Pro, Travis. We'll take you. I'll train you. You're plenty athletic. Now let's see if you can actually throw a baseball and see if you can handle it. See what type of biomechanics you have. Because we analyze your biomechanics, analyze how you move, analyze how you perform, how you prepare. Everything about you, your prep work, your arm care work, your post arm care, your training, handle everything, and we'll make you the best thrower you'll ever possibly be. Maybe you'll be the next Ohtani, Travis, and play DB, play wide receiver, and play pitcher. I've got you.
I'm telling you right now, you start training Travis Hunter, you're going to hear a knock on your door. It'll be James. You guys are going to be, oh my God, you surprised us. We're so happy. And then I'm not going to say a word. I'm going to go to the backyard where he's training. I'm going to smack him, and I'm going to say, keep Shohei out your mother effing mouth.
There you go. I like that. I'm okay with that.
All right. Fair enough. And finally, it's a staple of the show each and every week. So we are going to go to our Mount Rushmore. And this week, we've got the Cleveland Guardians, Indians. I don't know.
The Gindians.
The Gindians.
Indians.
David, who is number one on your list for the Gindians?
Every time I look at that that graphic, I see Thanos. I don't know what it is. I see Thanos. I love it. My number one for the Indians. This is one of those organizations been around forever. Some amazing players that played for them. Some great years. They haven't obviously had that like prolonged success. It's been like hot and then hot and then hot. Growing up, I love like just the 95 teams. We'll talk about it, like those 90 teams. But the one of the greatest pitchers of all time, and he'll let you know, one of the youngest ones to ever hit the ground running and just pitch forever and ever and ever, Bob Feller.
I thought you were going to say Wild Thing Rick Vaughn.
Yes, Wild Thing. But look at how young amazing he looks right there. God,
he does look young, which is amazing because usually when you look at old pictures, those guys look like they're 50 years old. But yeah, what a Bob Feller, what a pitcher. I mean, look at the way his body contorts. If you guys are watching on YouTube as opposed to listening on the podcast, which you can catch at all podcast platforms. But if you're watching the video on YouTube, just look at the way his body like stretches. I don't think he can do that anymore.
It's absolutely amazing. And the thing about it, I think he came into the league at like 18 or 19 or something like that. What was it?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Absolutely amazing. But he is one of those guys that is an all-time great in Major League history. You know, he had 266 wins, 3.25 ERA as a career. I again, like the wins aren't one of those that just like crazy jump off the page, but he also missed 3 years, I think 4 years of service time right in the prime of his career. The dude had 24 wins, 27 wins, 25 wins, and then he left for 4 years. Right in the prime of his career. The next year only played a little bit, then he had 26 wins, 20 wins, 19 wins, 15, 16, 22. Like he would have had 320 wins, something like that, 300 wins if he would have kept playing in that prime. Easy 320. I think he would have been 320 plus. And that's the thing people recognize about him. Like you miss some of these guys in the prime of their careers for what they did. He won the Triple Crown one year. Cy Young Award. Oh no, he never won a Cy Young. Never won a Cy Young, but like he's one of those pitchers that just what pitching is, what pitching meant. Oh, sorry, he came in the league at 17.
I really thought you were going to say pitching is as pitching does, sir.
He came in the league at 17, missed 4 years of it in his absolute prime, his 23, 24, 25 like years. So 3 years in there, whatever it is, 4 years, and then pitched until he was 37. The dude was absolutely amazing and an Indian through and through. And when you talk about Cleveland Indians, when he was there as an Indian, like he's the name that just comes up.
Let's move on next to Mr. Tris Speaker. David, tell me about Tris Speaker.
Tris Speaker was there 1916, 1926. He played 11 years, hit 354. Played 354 for the Indians. Just absolute kind of like, again, everything, anything and everything for the Indians. When you talk about Indian greats, you can't talk about them without Tris Speaker. Did everything for him.
Okay. Next up, Jim Thome.
You got nothing for Tris Speaker?
No, I don't really know much about Tris Speaker. I'm not going to lie.
That's it. Oh.
He's one of the guys that I really should know more about, but I don't. So that's why I let you do it.
So again, he won World Series for them in 1920. He just he did everything. Obviously, this was back then when like home runs weren't like a huge deal and stuff like that. But like he did everything. Incredible, like bat to ball guy. Just led the league in kind of like a little bit of everything. Just an amazing player, amazing all around player.
All right, I talked about him. I brought him up already. Jim Thome, or Jim Thome, as I like to call him, because I mean, look at the way he spells his name.
Jim Thome, Jim Thome, Jim Thome. Absolute, like we talk about those '90s Indians teams, and you cannot talk about them without talking about Jim Thome and how much he meant to these teams. Absolute, just stud, power hitting first baseman, DH. I think he came up as a right fielder, if I'm not wrong. Hall of Famer. Again, like where do you go here, right? You had Kenny Lofton on these teams. You had Manny Ramirez on these teams. You know, you had
Albert Bell.
Jesus, Albert Bell. Elmar. It's so many players, but right in the middle of that lineup was always Jim Thome. And what he did there, what he continued doing when he was with White Sox, stuff like that, is absolutely amazing. Power upon power upon power. And he earned every single right of being a Hall of Famer. 3 All-Star games. I'm reading this right now. 3 All-Star games, Silver Slugger, 100 runs, drove in 100 RBIs 6 times. Again, Philly, I believe he won the World Series with the Phillies, maybe. I don't know. But those teams should have won several World Series titles. It just absolutely amazing teams.
Yep. Just you know, it's funny though. You have played with so stories about Ichiro. I've heard stories about Griffey. Heard story about Bonds, Manny. Never heard a story about Jim Thome. You got any little 30-second Jim Thome story?
Jim Thome, the one thing I learned about Jim Thome very quickly is you don't talk to Jim Thome during a game.
Okay.
You leave Jim Thome alone. Before the game, one of the best guys ever be around. After the game, one of the best guys ever be around. A leader, mentor. He's a guy that you just like. You're scared to talk to because he's like dad. He's your dad. You respect him, and more than your teammate. You respect. And I went to go talk to him one time during a game.
Oh God. You
just leave him alone. Let him be focused. Let Jim Thome be Jim Thome. And I love that about guys. I love that when they just turn a switch and they become like a monster. Be a monster.
Jim Thome is like the opposite of me. When I'm on the air, I'm smiling. I'm happy. Oh, man, when the camera's off, don't go near me on a bad day.
Stay away.
Yep. And finally, the last guy in the Mount Rushmore, and this guy belongs there more than damn near anybody, Larry Doby.
Larry Doby, God, absolute stud. I believe he was the very first American League African-American player. Mm-hmm. So, like you talk about Jackie Robinson, but Larry Doby was just on every level of that. Absolute stud. Obviously, you missed the prime of their careers when they were in the Negro Leagues. He came over, and it's amazing. Everything I've ever heard of Larry Doby was just class act, class man. Jackie gets so much credit for what he did, and deservingly so. he kind of falls under the radar a little bit in a lot of those realms. Obviously, amongst Negro League players and that world, he gets all the respect in the world. But amongst Major League Baseball, he kind of misses out a little bit on that conversation. It's always about Jackie, always about Jackie. The dude went through the same stuff in Cleveland. He went through the same things that Jackie went through. So difficult. I can't even imagine playing with what he did. And then going, he did 7 All-Star games, 215 home runs. Like, the numbers aren't going to jump off crazy off the table, almost like 800 RBIs. But remember, like, led the team to the World Series, all-star teams, like, left and right, 7 of those. Like, how much he meant to the organization and to baseball and to Negro League players and the Black community. Absolutely amazing. And again, I've never heard a single bad thing about him at all. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
All right, we got to get done with the show because I know you have somewhere to go. Real quick, who is your guy that didn't make your list, but just on the outside?
My guy that didn't make the list, just on the outside, J-Ram, Jose Ramirez. Dude, like, he is not far away from the list. But like, he needs to do what he did last year, like, 2 more times, and then maybe win a World Series or somehow figure out how to take the team again on his shoulders and ride them to the promised land. This dude is amazing. Like, he is so close. Like, he was 1 game away from being a 40-40 guy last year, and the game got canceled. Like, the game got canceled. and like that, but again, you never heard a word out of him. You never heard a word how, like, disappointed I'm at. Like, some guys would lose their minds at it. For me, God, he is so close to being on this list. It's just what can he do to separate that next level? I don't know, dude. Just keep doing you.
I don't want to get into a long debate back and forth, but I will say, although I am a huge fan of Jose Ramirez and I respect him and I think he's fantastic, you know that, I would have put Albert Bell as the guy who just missed. That guy was incredible.
I would say that, but I don't think anybody. I think when people think of, like, when Indian fans think of Indians, Albert Bell's there, but it's Jim Thome. It was like Jim Thome's team and the leader and the captain. And, like, when you think of Indians, I think they think of it Thome first, and then they go, oh man, but Albert Bell was amazing too.
I dare you to go up to Albert Bell and say that wasn't your team. If you have the testicular fortitude to say that to Albert, go ahead.
I think I would talk to 8 other guys and ask them whose team it was. Or 7 other guys. Yeah, you don't ask the one player and say whose team it was, because Jim Thome would say, no, it's not my team. Everyone else, I agree with you.
I'm just,
but everybody else would say this was Jim Thome's team.
All I'm saying is I'm terrified of that man.
Dude, he'll break me in half, and I'm fine with that. But you never ask that guy whose team it was, because respectfully, they should never say it was their team.
Can you imagine a team with Milton Bradley and Albert Bell? Same team.
Oh, God. Good luck. It would explode.
All right. Last thing we're going to talk.
Well, and the player that could possibly be on this list.
That's where I was going.
Okay. Emmanuel Clase. Like, maybe arguably the best closer in baseball right now. Like, I don't know if there's another list of guys right now. And if this dude keeps doing what he's doing 3 or 4 more years, what he's doing, like, he's going to be on a short list of closers ever.
Well, I would have put Jose Ramirez in that spot, the guy who could get there, and I would have put Bell in. But okay, it's totally.
I think Jose Ramirez is so close to being on that list, because it's a different player in this since 2013. Like, it's been a different dude, and he's been 12 years there. That's the thing. He's been 12 years there doing it. Versus Albert Bell was also other teams. Like, he was a big part of those teams, but he was also a big part of other teams and other organizations. I don't think Albert Bell could have ever made the team as an Indian. He did it in multiple places.
Baltimore, etc. Yeah.
Yes, and Clase is, like, on this team, like, he needs like 3 or 4 more years to even be considered. Jose Ramirez needs like 2 more years, and he is on the list. Then you're saying, okay, like, who comes off?
Then it looks like he'll be on the list. All right. Great show. Very happy to have done it with you as usual, David. For those of you still watching, please contact us on Twitter. It's at ManCaveSports22. Let us know what kind of punishments should we inflict upon David Aardsma if he loses in Are You Smarter Than a Relief Pitcher? Because I want to see the greatest stuff. So far, he's got to eat a hot dog smoothie. He's got to dye his beard pink. Like, there's a lot of good stuff. But let us know. And nothing too evil. That's my job.
The best part is I don't know all the punishments. So my beard pink. What's wrong with my face? Did I get hit?
Shut up. We got to finish the show. Nobody's looking at your face. I'm James the Greek. He's David Aardsma. We're out of here. See you next week.